This is 100X Gaming. We've got the legend himself, Scott Herman from WAGMI Games, sitting down with us. We've just been having a fantastic conversation before pressing play on the camera, talking about creating entire worlds that people want to get lost in. And I'm really excited to talk about the world you're creating, Scott. Do you want to introduce, just to kick it off? You guys are creating...
We were also talking about cleavage as well.
So, you were talking about cleavage. Don't throw me under the bus.
Those are both things that one might want to get lost in, you know?
That's fair. Do you want to introduce...
more about why we were talking about that later.
Yeah, let's talk about the big world you're creating, not the big cleavage you're creating. What is this universe that exists inside of WAGMI that you are creating? Before we dig into everything this episode has to offer, we want to highlight the awesome partners who sponsor this podcast and make it possible for us to work full-time on 100X. They're legends, and we appreciate them for supporting us. Astrobit is the king of automated trading, and now they've introduced a freemium model. Put those trading fees to use. How does it work? Sign up to an exchange with one of Astrobit's affiliate links and receive at least 30 free credits as a loyalty bonus. Then earn credits on your trading fees. The more you trade, the more credits you can generate. Use those credits towards trading bots and strategies. In other words, you can create a passive income stream at no cost. Find more deets in the description below. Crypto does not need to be complicated. Kadena is building the human layer of blockchain by giving the power back to the people and allowing them to build products that make a difference for humanity. Founded by ex-JP Morgan and SEC blockchain leads, Kadena develops easy-to-understand, human-readable tools and solutions that focus on the long-term development of the space, not just short-term gains. Simply put, if we want real, regular people to enter and enjoy Web3, Kadena is making a way. To learn more, check out Kadena.io, follow them on Twitter at Kadena_IO, or watch our episode with them. Let's talk about Reactor, a proof-of-work blockchain that introduces a brand new economic model, deep in mining software, a gaming distribution platform, the RKR token, and their game, Minions of Steel, that's proving their thesis by seamlessly integrating proof-of-work token mining with gaming. Through allowing players to mine with their own GPU while playing, not only do they essentially make gaming free, they make software free, and they present an AI-proof income for everyone. If you want to take a glimpse into the future and get there early, explore Reactor's ecosystem at the link below.
So, first of all, thank you for the really warm introduction, guys. Happy to be here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a co-founder at WAGMI Games, and before that, I had Scott Herman Fitness on YouTube, 3 million subscribers. Before that, on MTV's Real World Brooklyn, and the list goes on of all the weird things I've done that, for some reason, have all kind of like gotten to this tipping point where they all make sense for Web3, and has been really helpful in both world building and community building. My two passions my whole life have been fitness and gaming. And when I got into Web3 3 years ago, when I discovered NFTs and how impactful they can be in gaming, that's when I was hooked. And I met my fellow co-founders at WAGMI Games, and we started creating this universe. In fact, the entire universe, all the characters, the lore, the story, that's all coming from our CGO, Luis Trujillo. I mean, the guy is just, his imagination is insane. And you can even go to our website right now, learn a bit more about the story. All the characters have backstories. We released our first comic book called Nephi Wars 2 years ago in collaboration with GameStop. And that tells a bit more about the story of the universe that we've been building. A quick synopsis: it's the year 3022. The world has kind of been beaten down and destroyed a little bit, both from the alien invasion, but also from humans being humans and just consuming tons of resources. So there's 5 major, huge major cities left in the world. And what happens is the aliens come to invade because they want to steal the core element of the earth called Nephi, which is nickel iron. And so the remaining humans have to band together to fight off the alien invasion, and they form the WAGMI Defense Force. So we're all going to make it, really kind of honing in on what that means, right? Banding together despite our differences, what color we are, what our background is, to fight for the greater good. And so as we've continued to push the story forward over the last 2 years, We've had amazing opportunities to work with companies like GadgetBot. So GadgetBot redid all of our characters for us. So you might not know who they are, but what they've worked on in the past is Transformers 4, Jurassic World, Pacific Rim, Alita Battle Angel, Apex Legends, Call of Duty Black Ops, Ender's Game. I mean, there's at least one or two big IPs you guys have probably heard of in that list.
You should know all of those if you like sci-fi.
Yeah, right. You should. Actually, I just rewatched Ender's Game the other day, and then I realized that the Salamanders captain was in Fallout. Right? He's the brother. Anyways,
nice.
I was like, oh, I haven't seen that. I literally just watched Ender's Game.
Ender's Game because he's also from Hannah Montana. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Hannah Montana too. Yeah. I was like, oh, I haven't seen him in anything for a while. I'm glad he's still getting work. But you know, creating these characters. It wasn't just like, hey, here's a cool character. In fact, working with GadgetBot was so interesting because we have such deep lore and backstories for all of our characters, they pulled elements from that to create what you see now. And so, like, for example, if you guys watched the anime trailer, right, you saw Talos. You know, he looks kind of like an Egyptian god, and he has a lot of Egyptian theme to like his armor and everything, right? It's like Horus is a big part of, where he gets his armor from. So you see all of that in the character. And even Melkros, right? Like, so Melkros has the power of this pink isotope called pinkadalium. So that's why you see a lot of pink with her, from her body to her hair, and even to her weapon, her Adala blade. It's all powered by this pink isotope, which is the basis of the story for the anime trailer that came out. Was she's not the main character. She's one of the main characters, right? It's kind of like if you watch an anime like Fairy Tail, it starts out with Lucy, but the real main characters are like Natsu and the rest of the Fairy Tail gang, but you're introduced to that world through her. So we're kind of doing that same thing where Melkros is a main character. She is a general, and her story is so cool and impactful that it's a really great segue into bringing in the alien characters as well as, the other generals in the WAGMI Defense. And that story shows her as a teenager and her parents get abducted. And then because of that, she joins the WAGMI Defense to fight off the alien invasion while looking for her parents. But she gets really cocky with her power and kind of just throws herself into the battlefield without without really listening to General Talos telling her what she should do for her orders. She ends up getting captured by the alien emperor. He actually impales her through her torso with one of his forearm spikes. And then the aliens are trying to figure out how her pinkadalium power works. And so they actually have her in a tube, and you can see in the anime, and they're tearing her apart. Like in the tube, she's missing an arm, her legs all torn apart. And they're basically just trying to activate memories to see how this power works. So they could steal it for themselves. And then, of course, she gets rescued and save her life. They have to turn her, into a cyborg. And so that's what you see at the end. So all of these great elements came together from the mind of Lewis, our CGO. And we've been working really, really hard to lay that foundation down. So, in fact, we actually are working with these guys. Their name is Adult Fantasy NFT. Very talented guys. I mean, the guys on this team have worked at Marvel as creators, like literally side by side with Stan Lee, to the point to where I was on a call with Todd and I was like, he has a background like me with all of his toys and his books and stuff. And there was a picture in the way back. And I was like, is that a photo of Stan Lee? And he's like, you're the first person to say that. Everyone thinks it's like my grandpa. So we say like Grandpa Stan Lee in the back. Before that, I mean, Cartoon Network, Kid Robot, Nickelodeon. I mean, these guys know how to world build. They've worked on things like Samurai Jack, Ed, Edd and Eddy, right? Because when you're building a world and a universe, and we were talking a little bit about Star Wars before this, which is a great example. Like, when you have a game, that game needs to be scalable, right? If you're building a universe, that has to be scalable too. And nothing is scalable unless the foundation is set and the storyline is set, right? And so that's what Adult Fantasy helped us with. And they're actually working on our next comic book, which should be out closer to the end of this month. And what's going to be cool about that comic is it's going to tell a lot of the story that I was just saying about Melkros. And so it's going to pair with the anime trailer. So yeah, we're really big on lore and storytelling here because we want people to play WAGMI Defense and build their teams around their favorite characters, not just what the meta happens to be at that point
Not
in
just the
time.
stats. Yeah.
Yeah, not just the stats.
Oh,
I
go
play
ahead.
Call of Duty now as Spawn with this like massive flowing red cape. Makes me stick out like a sore thumb. But I don't care, dude. I want to be Spawn. Spawn's a badass.
I was gonna say I think this is the first time that we had someone just come straight into an episode, really explaining a lot of the lore behind it. And maybe that's because either they talk about the lore in other ways, but with such a deep universe that you guys are trying to create, what about Web3 really brought you here? Did you come to Web3 and then realize, hey, this is the right place to build this into, or did you guys start building the universe and then realize, hey, Web3 and everything that crypto can offer in terms of infrastructure and the capabilities around it will allow you guys to bring that to full fruition? Because what it sounds like, the WAGMIverse is not just WAGMI Defense, but you guys also have the comic books, the cosplay, the anime coming up, everything that ties together. How is it all going to come together in one piece?
Yeah. And we have collectibles too, but we haven't shown the new ones yet. I mean, I got into crypto because I got into shitcoins. Let's just be honest. Someone told me to buy Shiba Inu, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" And I bought it. And this was before the massive pump. This is before Shiba Swap, right? And that was my introduction to the space. And then, of course, like everybody else, I started just shitcoining more and more and more. And then as I did that, I found myself joining lots of communities and kind of just learning more about the space in general. I was new to NFTs, and it just made sense to me once I started to realize like all these meme coins. Yes, they're fun. Yes, they build communities, but a lot of them are just rugs or just pump and dumps, right? It's just, liquidity passing from one hand to another. I was like, well, if I want to be in this space long term, there has to be something here that has sustainability, right? And that can also outlast the incoming, pullback or bear market. And so I started kind of looking into gaming. In fact, it was one of my community members that introduced me to WAGMI, and I had a meeting with the team. And this was probably about 2-3 months after they had formed the company. So very, very, very early stages. I mean, they didn't even have the core designs of all the characters yet, right? We hadn't even released the Genesis NFT collection yet, which is our first NFT collection. But they told me what their vision was. They said, hey, we want to build a universe around our first mobile title, WAGMI Defense. It's going to be a tower defense real-time strategy game, very similar to Clash Royale, except that you actually own all the characters and you can level them up, both their level of power as well as their rarities. And if you wanted to sell them on a secondary market or trade with your friends, you could. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense, right? It never made sense to me when a game came out and they're like, 10,000 mint only, get it while you can. And in the back of my head, I'm going, well, how is that scalable to the world? How are you going to get mass adoption in gaming if there's only 10,000 NFTs? Or if you're selling just X amount of land, what happens when you start to hit critical mass and a lot of people want to play? Are you just going to create more land and screw over the original land? Like, it just, none of that ever really made sense to me. But what did make sense was the structure that we have, where we have seasons. So every season, so right now we're in our preseason. Before this was beta. And once we went from beta to preseason, all of a sudden the value of the beta cards shot through the roof. Now, no matter what season you're in, it's still the same characters, right? It's not pay for power, it's not pay to play or anything like that. But if you're like me and you like to collect things, you can only level up the rarity of a card if it's the same season. So while you're playing the game and you're getting duplicates of cards, if you collect 5 of the same card, so we'll start with common, 5 commons make a rare, 5 rares make an epic, and 5 epics make a legendary, right? And the difference in power from common to legendary is only 5%. So it's not enough to give you an edge over someone who just has
it's not
common.
Game breaking. It's for the collecting, not for the rolling over everybody.
Yeah, but if you're like me, and I can tell like you based on your collection behind you,
yes,
you want that 5% because why wouldn't you, right? So you grind, and we have an evolve system in the game, which by the way doesn't cost anything. So you literally collecting your cards, and then in the game, to a Web 2 player, all I did was just like get rid of these 5 blues to make this 1 purple. But what actually happened on the immutable, on the Mutascan, was you burned those 5 blues to make that 1 purple. So that's why when we went from beta to preseason, now all of a sudden people who didn't finish their collections are trying to buy up what they're missing. And so that collection is being deflated every single day.
Like at the end of the season, yeah.
Correct. But if you missed out on beta, you can still get like a legendary Alien Emperor preseason. It's the same card as legendary beta. It's just not as cool because it's not beta. And then when season 1 comes out, that's not going to be as cool as preseason, right? It's the collectability of it. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to play the game and have fun, then that's fine too. We've designed the game to be, actually, we had somebody post yesterday, they finally hit the Emperor rank after 3 months of grinding as a free-to-play player. So, that in itself is proof that it doesn't matter. You don't have to spend any money. You can play every day, have fun, level your cards, and still be just as competitive as the people buying the in-game currencies and doing things faster. Just like any other mobile game.
And I do want to highlight there something before Matthew asks his next question. When you talked about the idea of taking those 5 cards and upgrading to the next rarity, I saw a video from Yin, Not Gonna Make It. He was like, oh, I wonder how long it's going to take, how many steps I'm going to do. And it was literally 2 clicks. He just put them, he upgraded it, and it was there. Like, he didn't have to go to the website and mess with the network and add gas and do all of that. And I was like, dude, I've never played the game yet, but that's definitely the direction we got to keep going. Because if I have to teach someone a 15-minute video of how to transfer all the funds everywhere to be able to do that in a game, that's not going to get the mass adoption or the masses to actually play a game. It has to be that simple. So I do want to give you guys your kudos for those capabilities in the game.
Yeah,
you played the game now, though, right?
Funny.
Yeah. Now I've played the game, but when I saw that video, I hadn't played it yet.
I was like, we got to make sure you played the game before we have the conversation about the game.
Well, yeah, in Yin's video, he's like, oh, geez, I wonder how much it's going to cost me to do this. I wonder how long it's going to take, kind of trolling. And then he did it. He goes, oh, I guess it's easy, right? And I'll tell you what, I boast a lot about keeping my DMs open, which is a double-edged sword, because once that anime came out, I was already getting a lot of DMs, and then it was just like, from people wanting to play the beta. But you got to keep your DMs open. I mean, if you're on social media trying to build a business and you don't answer your DMs, you're a fucking idiot. Why even be here, right? I troll people who don't answer their DMs. I haven't trolled Dane Cook in a while, but I was trolling him for like the last month. So he plays video games, and I liked him as a comedian, and I wanted him to play my game. And he would like do a post, he get like 4 comments, and I'd be like, "Yo, bro, hit me up in the DMs, blah blah blah," and I would just get ignored. And I'm like, "Why are you here? Go away." Anyways, back to the point. I've been signing people up to the beta because I have to add their email.
Yep.
And I've signed hundreds of people up over the past few months,
including
just on my own. Not one person has reached out to me asking how to play. And I think that's that's a testament to what you were just saying, Caesar, where it's like, you can just watch a video by somebody like Yin, and you're like, oh, it makes sense. Or just figure it out on your own.
Yeah, I watch no videos, and I figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I have a question. Man. I have a question while we're on this point of like getting new players to play the game. I think everyone throws this idea out about like mass adoption. Who's going to bring the next 1 million people to crypto? You told your story of like,
that wasn't a question.
Well, you told your story of how you came into the space as a degen. Like you bought the memes. That's what brought you to crypto. Mm-hmm. There's a reason we're 100x. We came into the space as degens and then realized, we actually really like this crypto thing. This is more than just 100x opportunities. And so we've got a really similar background. And I feel like from my perspective, gaming is the like number one place to bring in new crypto users if you do it correctly, because you don't have to teach them about crypto. You just make them play the game. Boom, they're a new user. That's what you guys are doing. I think like on the making it easy front, you've nailed that. But I do have a question about like the way that you talk about crypto. I would say that the average game we talk to, and we've talked to most of the most awesome games, I think the average game we talk to I don't know. I don't want to say like tiptoes around it, but they kind of do. That like they change the language. It's collectibles. It's not NFTs, or it's assets. It's not tokens. It's I don't know. Like everything is. They remove anything that has to do with crypto because gamers were pretty pissed off about NFTs a couple years ago. You guys, I would say, are on the opposite side. Like WAGMI is a crypto degen term, and it is your name. You have boldly owned it. And I'm curious, like, what that looks like for you. Is that intentional? Is there? Do you guys feel like there's gonna be, or there has been pushback to like bringing in gamers who maybe aren't crypto focused? What does that look like when you guys are like very boldly pro crypto?
So really good question. In the very beginning, by the way, this plays into this. So like we're 100% bootstrapped. We started this company as soon as the bear market hit, not, purposely. It's just how it happened.
Cheers, same.
And our token is, 86% on the market. So there was no vested tokens. And we were talking to VCs in the beginning to try to raise money, and none of them wanted to invest in us because, let's face it, there was no tokens for them to pump and dump.
Right.
It's just the way it is, just the lay of the land. And they didn't like our name. They're like, why are you guys called WAGMI? That's kind of dumb. It's cheesy. In fact, did you guys watch the Next Crypto Gem, the show that we went on?
No, I didn't.
So the Next Crypto Gem, it was the first reality TV show for crypto. It came out last year. So Killer Whales is another show that just came out.
I've heard of Killer Whales.
Yeah. So Next Crypto Gem was first. It was us, Vulcan Forge, Suka, and DeFi Kingdoms. And on that show, we had our first challenge was we had to explain crypto terms to no coiners. And no coiners being people who have known absolutely nothing about crypto. And so me and Ian is our CEO, we're doing an explanation. We had 2 minutes on a whiteboard to talk about, NFTs. And so as Ian was explaining, like, how many of you have a phone? How many of you have games? Okay, well, when you spend money on games in your phone, this is what you're doing. And I'm like drawing a phone, game, and then like a trash can and money. And I'm like throwing the money in the trash. All right. And then we're like, okay, now if this was a Web3 game, those assets you're buying are actually called NFTs, and you own them. And if you stop playing the game and you want to sell some of those items that you purchased, you can and get some of your money back. You could literally see like the light bulbs going off above their head. You could
not wasting money anymore.
They understood it so fast in that 2-minute explanation that like you could feel the energy shift from confused to holy shit, this is cool. Like there was a feeling in the air. But anyway, so after we did our presentation, one of the judges, there was Leah Heilpern, Cryptos R Us, George Soong was one, and Brian D. Evans. Leah was mad because she's like, you guys didn't even explain to them what the word NFT means. And we're like, yeah, because nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, who cares?
Like nobody gives a shit, right? And to the point to where they didn't even ask what it meant. Nobody cares. And we ended up winning that challenge because we were picked by the no coiners as the only group that explained things in a way they could understand. So getting back to like dancing around NFTs and tokens, you just need to use terminology that the general public already understands. So like a lot of times when I talk about token, our token, the WAGMI Games token, is a 100% utility token in the game. You can use it to buy anything in the game, cards, a Dalium. You can use it for wagering. You can use it to buy Battle Pass. You can use it for tournaments. But we say like it's just like buying V-Bucks or COD points, right? I think a lot of times you have people in a high position in gaming that don't game, so they don't really know how to do the correct analogies to get their point across, right? I think I'm the only co-founder in Web3 that also is a creator on YouTube, to the point to where we have like 40 creators right now, Yin being one of them, that are making content for us. And every week I'm giving them stuff. Here's more Dalium. Here's more Nefi. Here's some cards to give away. Like they don't even ask because I'm in DMs with them on Telegram, just giving them what they need. Because as a creator myself, like if I don't have these things, how can I be expected to make a video? Some of my creators, I noticed that they were putting out videos and they were like opening card packs, and I know card packs cost money, and I DM, I'm like, are you spending the money that I'm paying you to buy card packs to make content? And like, yeah. I'm like, dude, no, that's not how it works at WAGMI Games. Like, if you're going to make content, you send me a DM and I'll give you what you need, right? And it's just such a different relationship that I never experienced anything like this, which is why I wanted to change the game when I came here. But our creators are doing such a kick-ass job, and they know that we have their back. So they've done a really good job of just, like Yin, again, like just showing that, hey, yes, this game has NFT technology and token, but you don't have to know those things to play. It's just there.
Cool. Yeah. How do you get the general public excited about it? Get creators that they would want to watch.
That's marketing you can't buy. I mean, like, I find it so funny in Web3 because there's a lot of creators that I haven't hired, and I probably will in the future once they come back down to earth, and they realize there's things like CPMs and ROI, and it's like, dude, you don't just start playing Fortnite and then tomorrow Fortnite says, hey, I'm going to give you all this money because you just started playing our game. Like, no, you get to prove that you have what it takes to make content and be creative and build a following and be the kind of person that people want to talk to and listen to, right? And it's like, I think a lot of creators in Web3 forgot about that. They just I get 100 likes on a photo, so give me $1,000 for a tweet. Like, are you out of your fucking mind, bro? Like, and then I get reached out to all the time on Telegram. I probably sound a little arrogant right now, but I promise you, once you get to know me, it's all from a loving place. But I'll get people reaching out to me and be like, hey, I'll make a YouTube video for all this money, whatever. And I go to their page and I'm like, listen, bro, all your shit's fake. All your comments are fake. Your views are trash. Your likes are like, I just tell them how it is and they get all butthurt. And then I send them my YouTube channel that has almost 1 billion views across all my videos, 3 million subscribers. And I'm like, bro, I know what it's like to go from fucking 0 subscribers to 1, and then from 1 to 10, and then from 10 to 100. I know what that's like. I've done it several times. So guess what? You're talking to the wrong game if you're looking to just score some cash and move on. And I think that's why our creators are of such high quality, because they're happy to be with a team that also appreciates their hard work. And right. I do. We have such amazing creators and streamers.
On this same idea of not only the game, but also the content creators that you guys are working with, how do you hope to expand that relationship or continue that relationship as you guys continue to grow out this universe that you guys are trying to create? As the anime rolls out, as the other collectibles start coming out, as all the other things that you guys have planned for the WAGMIverse start really rolling out, and the game comes out of beta, goes into actual, the live ops and everything. How do you plan to have all these things juggling? Or do you plan to have those creators come along with you and things like that and grow with it? What does that actually 100%.
Look like? I mean, there definitely will be some creators that are brought on just for the campaign, right? And that could just be because they want to go into other campaigns or, whatever the reason might be. But this huge campaign that we're doing right now is giving me a really good idea of who is working the hardest, who's putting in the extra work, and who really wants to be a part of the ecosystem that we're building here. In fact, it's looking like almost all of them, want to be here for the long term, which is very cool. And what's interesting about doing a game in Web3 is that, because there's a secondary market and we've seen just a massive uptick in, onboarding players, players spending their money to buy the in-game resources. If you go to Token Trove, we see every single day people buying cards. It's like these creators are literally paying for themselves and then some just from getting the word out, right? So there's a lot of value in having really high quality content creators that are so excited about the game. Like, so for example, a lot of these guys, they have like a contract with us where they have to do X amount of tweets and X amount of videos, right? Like in the first week, I would say pretty much all of them already surpassed what they were supposed to do for the month because they're having so much fun playing the game and interacting with each other. And that's really hard to do. You guys know, because you guys are in social media, that's hard. That's a really hard thing to come by. And it lets us know that what we have here is really something special.
Phenomenal. I dig it, man. Talking about the game, I know we've been bouncing around talking about the universe and the different sides of things. Game itself. So right now, WAGMI Defense, if people want to play, they hit your DMs. If they hit your DMs, they get beta access like I did, like Caesar did. I've played, I don't know, like 10 or 15 games so far. I think I finally set it up. I think I asked you a week ago, and then my wife had the kid, and I haven't come back downstairs, and I've got an iPhone, so I can't play it unless I'm on my PC. So I think I played it like 2 days ago for the first time, and I've got probably 15 games in.
Nice.
As far as like what that universe looks like, game specific. So if people want to play, what would they frame of reference? What would they compare that game to? What does their gaming experience look like? I'm interested in just like gamers themselves. We're not even talking crypto right now. If I'm a gamer, I like playing mobile games. The only mobile game I play really heavily right now is, again, a Star Wars one, Galaxy Heroes. It's too grindy. It's terrible, but I love Star Wars. So this game, WAGMI Defense, what are they doing in the game itself?
So really great question. So the easiest thing to beat would be to compare us to like a Clash Royale, where you have 3 towers on one side, 3 towers on the other side, and the goal is to blow up the middle tower. It's not an auto battler because you do have to drag and drop and place your cards, but you have to do it with a specific strategy in mind so that you can get your cards across the map while also defending your towers. So all the characters have their own attributes. Some are heavy defense, some are heavy attack, some are melee, some are mid-range. And right now there's 2 different classes. So you can either be aliens or humans.
I'm human gang.
You're what?
I'm human gang already. Human superiority, man.
Dude,
I'm defending Earth.
It's alien gang.
It's funny.
Are you an alien, Caesar?
I'm an alien gang.
You'll think you'll have the best human team and you'll whoop all these aliens, and then all of a sudden an alien team comes in and throttles you, and you're just like, what?
All of a sudden you run into me.
Yeah, you run into Caesar on the battlefield.
No, man. Look, the reality is WAGMI games, we're all going to make it. The story is a bunch of humans got invaded. Why would I want to play as the bad guy who we know loses in the end? Darth Vader always loses, right? The Empire loses. So the humans are going to win, Caesar. Enjoy your moment.
Hopefully it's a battle that lasts, a good 15, 20 years.
Years.
That's the plan.
Cool. Sweet. So classic tower defense, but it's multiplayer. It's 1v1. Is that what it's always going to look like? It's a 1v1 scenario? Because I know we're in beta. I guess the question is, what's the difference between beta and the full game experience? Like, what is that experience intended to be?
Great question. So the number one thing you're going to notice is that, and we've been teasing some of the new assets, we have completely rebuilt the entire game. Like, there's literally not one speck of code from what you see now in the new user interface. All the characters have been redone by Roommate Studios, high poly, AAA quality. All the maps have been redone. They look amazing. All the screens have been redone. And even just like how you flip through the menus has been redone. We actually hired the principal experience designer from EA to help us with that, to make sure that, you want to do as little clicks as possible when you're playing a game on mobile, especially if that game has a lot of stuff to do. Now, right now, you just have PvP battle. There's going to be a campaign mode. There's going to be live op opportunities. So live ops will be like special events where, hey, you need these characters on your team, or, hey, do X amount of battles to win this, right? There's always going to be fun things for you to do week after week to make sure players are logging in and have something, just as exciting as the PvP. Of course, there's evolution. In the future, there will be fusion. There's actually a third class that you can play as called the Nephilim. And what's going to be interesting
Are the aliens having babies with man, and we've got Nephilim?
Yeah, so basically what's going to happen is
we're going biblical.
You're going to have to sacrifice an alien and a human card for their DNA, and that creates the Nephilim character. And so the rarities for the Nephilim are going to depend on what you're sacrificing. So, like, if you want a legendary Nephilim or a chance to get
throw away a fantastic,
throw away a couple legendaries. Card. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, that creates this, interesting opportunity for the grinders to be grinding cards and selling them on the secondary market, so people can buy them and create legendaries and hopefully get a legendary Nephilim out of that, right? Or maybe you merge 2 commons, you get a common Nephilim, or maybe you're that 1% that gets, the legendary out of the two. So like, there's going to be all these different like mechanics that make it fun and
So
traditional.
yeah, if you like
games.
late game play, dude, you get a whole third class if you get into the late game universe.
I want to say RIP to the person that accidentally burns a legendary beta card. Bro, that guy's gonna...
Dude, one of my streamers, 64 World, he friggin' scrapped his legendary Founders Human Emperor, and I felt so bad. He's like, bro, I was half asleep, and I scrapped it. You know, I wasn't paying attention, and I was like, I can't make another one of those cards, man. Like, you have... I mean, they're still available. We're not on Web 2,
we can't do it.
Yeah, but I mean... And actually, you know what's really cool? Yesterday, a couple of days ago, he hit me up, but I finally was able to help him out yesterday. Someone messaged me and they said, hey, I had 5 epic Aurora beams and I went to evolve it to a legendary. The game glitched or errored because he was on BlueStacks, and sometimes that happens. And he goes, the cards are gone, but I do not have my legendary Aurora beam. And I was like, well, that sucks for you, bro. No, I was kidding. I was like, well, give me your wallet address. And so I took his wallet address. I went on a Mutascan, and I was able to see the 5 cards that were burned. And then typically what you see is burn, 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 and then mint. And then you see the legendary. There was no legendary. So you know what I did? I sent him a legendary. So I was able to use the blockchain to prove, because you guys know how customer service is with games. They don't care. Hey, the game glitched. Oh, tough shit. Go spend money in the shop. Right? So we were not only able to figure out what happened, but I was also able to send him the card he should have got. And it's no questions asked. It is what it is. Yeah, it glitched. Here you go. No problem. That's awesome. What's cool about blockchain gaming.
Yep, I dig that. That's fantastic. Okay, another question. You guys are WAGMI Games, not WAGMI Game.
Correct.
You've teased that there's a second title that was beginning early development in Q1 of this year. What's the story with that? What are we allowed to know about the second title?
So I can tell you that we have Ed Del Castillo is going to have a pretty big hand in the second title. He is one of the visionaries behind Command & Conquer. He was the CEO of Liquid Entertainment. Another one of our advisors who's going to be working closely with us on this is Alex Seropian. He was one of the guys that was a part of creating Bungie and Halo. So we have a lot of top tier Web2 talent. What?
I said my first FPS, got into shooters.
Everybody's first FPS, right? So we have some top level advisory as well as top level guys on our core team, helping us put this together. It's going to be a PC game. It's going to be real-time strategy, and it's going to be a continuation of the first game. So there's going to be interoperability of the assets. So you're going to see the characters and be able to play them in a different type of way in different gameplay. Don't know how much I can say quite yet, but the coolest thing about this is, everyone talks about interoperability. We're going to actually be able to do it, at least in our own ecosystem. And what's also cool is, we've already had fun ideas where, there can be different live op events you do in game 1 or game 2 that gives you things for both games. So these are areas that you can start to explore because of blockchain gaming that we've never really had the opportunity to do. I mean, you can't even keep the same skins from, season to season on COD. It's so stupid, right?
I've referenced that all the time. One of the reasons why I'm so bullish on NFTs and gaming is the fact that they just deleted Warzone 1 and every skin that anyone ever bought to release Warzone 2, which was the exact same game, down to the same code. They just deleted your skins, guys. Yeah,
so stupid.
I dig that. I mean, I appreciate anything that's being built in the same world. Also, some love for the PC gamers. I think that sounds rad. Do you guys have a loose hope for when that enters beta? Is that 2024? Is that 2025?
Oh, the game 2 will take some time to build. It'll probably take a couple of years to build game 2.
Yeah.
And we also want to make sure that our community knows, and they know because they come to the spaces, we're not dividing our team to make game 2, we're expanding the team.
Adding on.
So there's just as much, if not more, attention on game 1 to ensure the success, because there won't be a game 2 for a while. We need to make sure this year, next year, the year after, and so on, that WAGMI Defense, can stand the test of time and last the ages. And the new user interface is going to be a huge step in that direction of showing the world. When you guys get the new user interface downloaded, you're going to think you're playing a whole new game. It's insane.
With that, I do have a one-off question. Will we ever get a version that's not in BlueStacks? I'm gonna have to say I'm not the biggest fan of BlueStacks myself.
Yeah, no, we're gonna be on iOS and Android.
Nice.
The only reason why we're not on iOS right now is because we don't want to put the current version of the game on the iPhone store.
And Apple is notoriously difficult for anyone that is implementing Web3 or crypto.
Not for us. Honestly, I think a lot of games say Apple is notoriously difficult just because...
Is it because you're not instituting, like as far as the NFT and the token stuff goes, that's not through the app? Is that why it's easier?
No, I mean, it's all Apple told us was just make sure if an NFT pack costs $5 in the game, it costs $5 on your website, and it costs $5 on the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these games that are saying Apple's so hard, I think it's just bullshit.
Because they don't want to give the 30% to Apple, and so...
Well, yeah, they say, oh, we don't want to give them 30%. It's like, did you not know that was going to happen when you said you wanted to make a mobile game? Like, pay to play, you have to pay the fee to get on these platforms. Like that, I find it so funny when people complained about that, because they were complaining about that a lot like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys didn't already work that into your projections when you started this business? Like, that was a red flag to me for a lot of these games. I was like, wow, your core team isn't that smart if you're not already taking into consideration the platform fees for the top app stores in the world to give you the biggest reach. Oh, I don't want to pay 30%, but you're going to reach a few billion people. You know, it's like, are you serious?
Yeah, pay the 30% if you're going to get 100x more attention on your game.
Yeah, 1,000x, 10,000x. Yes.
Okay, we've talked games, we've talked anime, we've talked comics, we've teased collectibles. You are a collectibles guy.
We haven't talked cleavage yet.
We haven't.
We said we would.
True. You said we would.
Wait, watch until the end of the episode, because Matthew's going to show us his.
I'm going to show you my cleavage. We've got... So collectibles, obviously you're a big collectible guy. You've got behind you, anyone can see all the collectibles back there. What is going on with collectibles in the WAGMI universe?
So right now we have a collectible that you can get. A lot of our creators are giving them away in their streams. If you really want one and you're tuning into these guys, you can DM me and I might be able to help you score one. So we have a 3D printed Human Emperor collectible that we've been handing out. Now, the NFT is free. It was done in collaboration with 3D Houdini. But if you want to have the collectible printed and sent to you, then there's a cost there. And there's 5 different versions that you can choose from, different sizes. There's like a 3.5 inch all the way up to a 10 inch that you can get printed. And it's a collection of just 1,000 statues. And they're all numbered, and then when you get it 3D printed, you keep the NFT, and then there's actually a QR code on the bottom of the statue that links to the NFT. So it's a one-to-one collection. That's on the crypto NFT side. What I can tell you is that we are working on 2 more collectibles. I can't say the name of the company, but I can tell you it's very similar to like a Funko Pop. And these are going to be coming out and represent a couple of our characters from the anime. Right. And these things are so friggin' cool.
I'll show you guys. I think about, you mentioned collectibles, and I think about the way that like Pudgy Penguins has gotten into Walmart, right? Like they broke through. Is that the pitch? Are you guys trying with these collectibles, the Funko-esque collectibles? Is that going to be more for the crypto side of people, or is that your breakthrough the mainstream the same way Pudgy?
Oh, it's going to be for everyone. I mean, When these come out, anybody who's a part of our ecosystem or has seen the anime or seen the comic, they're going to want these. They're going to be like, yes, please, sell me that.
Maybe I'm going to redesign this office in here eventually. I need to back up a little bit and have some cool shelves behind me. Maybe you'll see a WAGMI collectible back there.
Section it off. You have your Star Wars section, and you'll have your WAGMIverse section.
My WAGMI section. There's going to be enough characters, right? I mean, that's the goal. I mean, we talked with another sci-fi IP that's in Web3 recently, and maybe we got to do a big sci-fi episode or something. But I think it's a lot of fun. He was saying, that's Koji at Parallel, if you know those guys. He was talking just about how fun it is to like be able to challenge Star Wars right now. That like for a long time, it felt like the big sci-fi IPs were untouchable. That's not really the case anymore. Those peak sci-fi IPs that we all loved as kids, you know, there's some holes in the armor right now, and so there's room for new IPs.
There's
to show
missing
up.
armor right now. They're not even holes.
Yeah, they forgot the whole sword.
For Mark Hamill to get that much hate, right? I mean, this was a guy that was untouchable for so long, and for him to get that much, like, yeah, we won't get into it, but yeah, there's definitely a massive hole, massive void with Marvel, with Star Wars, all the major IP, Disney. People want new stories that have nothing to do with what's going on in the world right now. They want a new
give us
universe.
something new. Give us something fresh. Give us a new take that's original, that's exciting. And I think talking with guys like you that are building something that is bigger than a single game. The reason I say this is like we have been in crypto for literal years. I remember when we first started talking to games, like I even have to put them in quotes because in 2021, they weren't really games at that point. The gaming space was so small. There was like such a lack of vision. And now this is not the first conversation we've had with someone where you are building like a universe. You're striving to build an actual IP that is way bigger than a single game. We can see the passion behind it. It gets me excited. I think these are the kind of conversations I've been waiting years for in crypto. And so props, man. I have one more question about the crypto side of things, since I just mentioned crypto. Games, collectibles, comics, anime, the WAGMI Games token. Does that tie in with all of that or just in the games like a V-Buck, like you mentioned before?
Yeah, so the WAGMI Games token is a 100% utility token in the game, which to me has always been what made the most sense.
Yeah.
Because it's a volume play, right? If you got 1,000 people spending WAGMI Games token, you know, they have to buy WAGMI Games token. If you have 10,000 players, 20,000 players, 50,000, 100,000, and they're using that token. Like when we come out with our in-game wagering, which you can only use the WAGMI Games token for, not only is that going to do really well for us, but those streams, I can already see like $10, wagering battles for the next hour, and you watch your favorite, streamer get wrecked or win. Right?
Yep.
You hope they get wrecked, but you also want them to win too, so they keep going. We have a lot of big plans for the WAGMI Games token. In fact, we just implemented it into the current beta build 2 weeks ago, where now you can use it to buy NFT packs and Edalium and do all these in-game purchases with it. So, yeah, tokens need to be 100% utility in the game, right? Like governance isn't going to hold a candle to anything. It's like, oh, you can have of course we have governance as one of our utilities too, but that's like low totem pole, right? It needs to have actual value in the game, and seeing it as a V-Buck or a COD point, that gets people who know nothing about crypto excited because they understand that.
Right.
Like I have probably like 4,000 COD points that I'm holding right now, right? Because I want it there for when I want to spend it, when a new skin comes out that I want.
The new spawn skin comes out. And that's been me, right? I've got too many V-Bucks that like I had so many at one point, and I really just buy the IP skins that I like at this point when they release them. And so,
well, imagine if you could like wager before going into a Fortnite match or a 1v1, right?
Yep, exactly. I dig that. Fantastic. Man, this has been a pleasure. I really genuinely appreciate what you guys are doing. I think, how do I say this? I think we have had so many conversations with so many games that a lot of times I go into these conversations with like small expectations. And so to be able to have a conversation and to see like a full scope of vision with what you guys are building, huge positive for the space. I think we as a space, when I say as a space, I mean Web3 gaming, we desperately need people that are willing to challenge the entire system and to create entirely new things and to not piggyback, to not just copy and paste. And I appreciate the depth that has gone into the world. I know in the very beginning, Caesar mentioned like hey man, we've never had someone just kick it off with 6 minutes of telling the story. And that's because very few games have the lore to back it up. There are a few. And if they've been on the show, you know which ones those are. And I usually ask those lore questions because I get really into the stories. And I think you guys have something so rich that it's bound to explode. So thank you, Scott, for sitting down with us, letting us pick your brain, telling the story of the WAGMI universe. It's been a blast.
Thanks, guys. Happy to be here. I mean, getting the word out is what you need to do. It's one person at a time. Even when we have millions of fans and millions of people playing our game, like we will still be out there pounding the pavement, finding new communities and getting them involved in the WAGMIverse, because that's how excited we are.
All right, best place for people to go if they want to get involved right now, yesterday, where should they go?
I mean, you should definitely follow us on our official Twitter page, WAGMI Game Co. We have a link tree there with all of our links, so you can go to our Telegram through there. You can go to our Discord through there. And then, of course, if you guys want to get in on the game and play the beta, DM me directly, Scott_Herman on Twitter. Maybe you guys can pull up a graphic or something, and then I will get you on the beta.
Boom. Easy. Thank you so much. Hey, thank you for listening. If you are from 100X's regular community, go show some love to WAGMI. Go play the defense game. Have a blast. Kill Caesar. Show him why the aliens suck and deserve to die. All right. We'll see you guys next time.